Hi, I'm Ozoz, but you probably know me as the Kitchen Butterfly. Don't forget to subscribe to Zamari TV for more exciting and interesting content. Thank you.
No word can better define Ozoz Sokoh than superhuman. She's a trained exploration geologist, a photographer, a writer, and an amazing cook. In between inventing new Nigerian dishes and capturing breathtaking moments with a camera lens, she mothers 3 amazing kids and writes passionately about food in a popular blog, kitchenbutterfly.com. She's in-depth and authentic in her work, always willing to take risks, and completely audacious with her recipes. So right now, I feel very honored right now to be sitting with one of Nigeria's biggest, chefs. Can I call you that?
No, call me cook.
Okay, one of Nigeria's best cooks, the very fabulous Ozoz, also known as Kitchen Butterfly. How are you doing? First of all, thank you for having us in your home. And right now, we're about to make the mushroom suya.
Yes, vegetarian mushroom suya.
Vegetarian mushroom suya, yes. And I'm excited about this, and I'm also excited to have a conversation with you because I'm fascinated by your life and your career and how you're doing, how you juggle so many balls, because you actually do. So how do I cut this first of all?
So first of all, we're using white button mushrooms, and we can do it two ways. We can cut each mushroom in half.
Okay.
And then we can do each one in quarters. So then, yeah.
Okay.
So we can have some that the mushrooms are quartered and some that the mushrooms are half.
Okay.
So should I do the quarters and you do the halves? Or?
I'll do the halves.
Okay. I'll take the bigger ones.
Okay. I'm a great cook, guys. Don't judge me. I feel cooking in a way has become political. It's become this thing of whether or not it's a sign of femininity or it's a sign of
okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What does cooking mean to you? Let's leave all those extra labels.
To be honest, I think that all the labels count. I'm one of those equal opportunity people. So I believe that all the labels count because as long as they're inspiring people to have conversations, whether they're comfortable conversations or conversations that are not comfortable, it's good for,
Yeah.
So when some people do things, you're like, now I know the kind of person you are.
True,
but I think it also exposes us to a wealth of opinions and perspectives. But for me, cooking is therapy. Cooking is how I make sense of the world. I think it's how I feel like I have God-given talent. And I express a lot of them through food. And whether it's my creativity when I'm developing recipes, whether it's my attention to detail when I'm combining things, whether it's the wealth of experience I've gathered from many successes and many failures. But it's the place I go to when I want to think, when I want to reflect, especially at night. So I love cooking when everyone's asleep.
Wow.
And by that I mean not just my family members, but like neighbors. Like when it's quiet outside and still. And to be honest, some of my best ideas and recipes and writing has happened in that twilight hour between like midnight and dawn.
Oh wow.
I don't know what it is about that time, but I find myself like sometimes it's a train of thought.
Okay.
But I find myself that there's so much clarity around being able to go from concept almost to execution in those few hours. So yeah, I enjoy cooking.
As a Nigerian woman growing up in Nigeria, cooking is handed over to you. So you are supposed to know how to cook. You're supposed to enjoy cooking. But at what point in your life did you realize that this for me is more than just something I do? It's therapy for me. When did that happen?
So I've had 2 defining moments when it comes to food. The first one was in 1997 when I moved out of Nigeria when I moved abroad to go to university. I was at university in Ife. I left after 3 years because of strikes and went to University of Liverpool, and I started afresh from scratch.
Oh wow.
But I'm not one of those people who grew up with the females in the family doing the cooking. In fact, when I think of who has really inspired me as a cook, I think of my late father. My father was the sort of person, he had a job. He had an oil and gas job. My father was the person who would make everything from scratch. So when I would make elubo, like yam flour from amala. We'd make it from scratch. My father would buy the yams. We'd peel them, slice them, dry them. Then he would take it to the market to grind into flour. And we did the same for plantains. So I grew up with my brothers and my sisters, everyone pounding yam, everyone knowing how to wrap moi moi in leaves. My father worked at Shell. He was a marine engineer. So this wasn't something that, I think he had grown up. He'd spent a portion of his life living abroad as a bachelor. And I think in that time he kind of took to food and took to eating and took to cooking. So we would go, like he would wake us up on a Saturday morning with grilled fish and lemon and things that some of them I hadn't read in books. But, my father was this very creative, very passionate person about food, about the quality of food, about the process. So that really got me, I feel like that got me on my journey. But then when I moved abroad, I was homesick. Like I was sad, I was depressed, I was missing home, and cooking was a way to kind of remember home fondly. And I think one thing from that period stands out to me, and it's Chapman, right? So I remember coming back home on holiday after maybe like 2 years abroad and going to a club, not like a nightclub, these clubs, social clubs. Yeah. And the barman made me Chapman. And it just occurred to me that I could actually get the recipe from him and then start making my own Chapman when I went back to the UK. And I think that was one of the earliest indications that I would take up blogging. I didn't realize it then, but I wrote down that recipe. And I went back to the UK a few months later and started making it for family and friends. And it was just so amazing that being away from home all of a sudden made me realize the importance of having some evidence of things I've eaten. And I think that's how this idea of documenting things. If I was in Nigeria, I would never have bothered to learn how to make Chapman. Because I'm like, I can just go down the street, what's the business? Exactly. Why should I be hustling to make it? But that disconnect from home actually made it very, very important.
You go to work, you come back, in the middle of the night, you're cooking, you have to get ready for work. How were you able to do all of that?
When I started blogging in 2009, I was also living and working abroad. So I was working in the Netherlands, and again, I was homesick. But this time I think it was more than homesickness. I think it was also a bit of, who am I? What am I doing here? Whose am I? It was just this journey of finding myself. And it was hard for me because I'm like, okay, I'm working as a geologist, but I'm not feeling the fulfillment that I expect to feel as an adult who's earning money, who's responsible for a family. And I started searching for things that had meaning for me. And in that process, I found a mentor, actually a series of mentors, who helped me, give me advice, give me direction. And I think that through that, I realized that, okay, I liked to read, I like to write, I like to take photos. Why not combine all of them into this blogging thing? And so I started blogging. And at first it was hard because I wanted people to know about my blog. So I would do what was called blog hopping. I would go to like 60 blogs every day just so I could get responses back. And, I was kind of marketing myself.
And you drop a comment and everything.
Exactly. To try and get traffic back to your blog. I wasn't really reading the blogs. A lot of it was just really with a selfish intent. But along the way, I became more intentional. I started really reading and managing my reading list. So I've always strived to be an honest person. I'm not saying that I'm very honest, but honesty and integrity has always been one of the most important things to me. And it's also been one of those things that I've found at various parts in the course of my journey as an adult, I've struggled with, So I started this journey, and I just ended up finding so much comfort in food. But then I used to go to bed at 2 a.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. and I had constant red eyes. Then I just had a baby. So there was also that thing of waking up at night to take care of the baby, and I had 2 older children. So it was very stressful. But slowly I realized that wasn't really working. I was always tired. And one of the ways that I found I could balance things was what I call my 5 minutes a day. And for me, it's just basically when I have a long list of things to do, I take 5 minutes a day to do one thing. You know, and so like maybe I'm writing an article and I know I wouldn't have 2 hours to finish it. I'll just take 5 minutes today and then 5 minutes tomorrow. And by the end of the week, I might be finished. As opposed, and for me, that's a more practical way of accomplishing all my different goals. It's for me, it's about writing that list. It's about prioritizing, and then it's about making little blocks of time available to accomplish them. Now, the time to accomplish them might be longer than I originally planned.
Yes.
But in the end, I get that's what I found to be the most effective way of getting lots of stuff done. So.
But when did you decide to step away from your 9 to 5?
A few months ago. I have 3 children. My children are growing older, and I just really wanted to. I mean, it was my choice. I just really wanted to spend more time focused on the things that are important to me. Because, you know, life is short.
It is.
And I know that we always feel like life goes on forever, but it is quite short, and I didn't want to miss out on the things that I considered important to me.
What gives you the courage to leap out in faith and be like?
My father died suddenly. My father woke up one day, we spoke, we were going to see him that weekend. Next thing, he had a heart attack and died. When he died, I had a gold bangle in a drawer in my house, and then I used to be the kind of person that would save things for special occasions. And after my father's death, I was talking to my sister one day, my older sister, and I was like, I want to wear this bangle, but I want to save it for that occasion. And she was like, Ozoz, are you okay? There's no saving anything for anything. Anything can happen tomorrow. This is your life. Live it. You know, so I really started, for me, it was that thing of, I want to live a life that's rewarding, but I want to live that life in the now. I don't want to wait till I'm 60 and then start regretting, because I feel like the thing that kills people the most is the regret of things that they didn't do. You know, so it's not easy, but I made my choice, and this is my choice for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is very important.
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
my choice for me.
Yeah. So we're still cutting this mushroom.
Well, you're cutting your own. Me, I'm done. So
am I done with mine? This is like really big. Should I make it
into 4?
Into 4, okay.
What I'm gonna do with the mushrooms, I'm gonna drizzle them with some brown butter.
Okay.
Brown butter is this heavenly combination of,
and it smells really good.
It smells like caramel. It's amazing.
And
you just basically take butter,
okay,
and you cook it.
For how long?
Anywhere from like 8 to 10 minutes, 12 minutes most times. Because of the milk solids. The milk solids caramelize, and that's what gives it that amazing fragrance.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. But it's one of those things that you have to be in the kitchen, because if you look away, it will burn. So
there should be a flavor for you when it burns now. Something that I'm sure.
It's called black butter, and believe me, it doesn't smell anything as good. It doesn't smell as good as this. So what I'm gonna do is, I have kuli kuli yaji. Kuli kuli and yaji mixed together. I'm gonna put the mushrooms in it, and then I'm just gonna take a stick and skewer.
Oh, nice. How did you discover this recipe?
I think the way I discover most other recipes, I'm always thinking about food. So one of my thoughts is like, I really like mushrooms.
Okay.
And I really like suya. And I'm always thinking of how to use Nigerian ingredients in non-traditional ways.
Okay.
I know that there's a growing population of people who are going vegan.
Okay.
Who are focusing on plant-based diets. And so for me, it's like, why don't I try what it's like with suya? Try what the mushrooms are like with yaji. And you know, suya, the mushrooms are quite bland.
Okay.
Like they don't have a strong taste. So the suya spice really adds a lot. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
You're ready.
Wow, this looks really good.
So the mushrooms have shrunk a bit. You can smell the nuttiness in the butter. So I'm gonna put some here.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna put some on your plate.
Okay. You can smell the
butter and the nuttiness of the yaji. Like it really has that meaty texture.
Yes.
I mean, it's perfect as a replacement for me. I mean, nothing can ever replace meat. Yes, but I feel like it also works well. I think people should be able to enjoy
both
flavors, even without, even if not in the classic way.
This is
So
good.
yeah, I have this herb oil.
Okay.
So I just like to drizzle a bit over the top.
What is the oil made from?
So the oil is made with uziza.
Okay.
Uziza is this really fragrant, spicy herb.
Okay.
So uziza and then coriander, and then I put some green chilies and a bit of salt.
Okay.
So
you have your onions and you have your
tomatoes, and then you can put extra kuli kuli on the side. So this is our mushroom suya.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I will drizzle this.
Yes, you can drizzle. You can put it on the side. I mean, if you're not sure. Yeah.
I think it'd be nice. Don't worry.
I think there's this weird thing that I do.
Okay.
I actually really enjoy my food. Like, you know how some people cook and they
they're like, oh no.
That's not me.
I don't like eating my food. I'm like, yeah, right.
That's not me. Well, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I thank God for whatever thing it is. But yeah, so these things really give me a lot of joy. Like the ability to think through a recipe, try it out, tweak it till I get it right, and actually have other people enjoy it.
How long did it take you to perfect this one?
The first time I did it, it worked. And a friend of mine came to dinner, and it was so weird. She came to dinner, fell in love with it, put it on her DP, and the next day she was like, 3 people want to order this mushroom suya. You should have seen me running around Lagos because I was like, okay, I need to get, because I hadn't planned. It was just something I made for dinner, and people actually ordered it and loved it. So.
Right. What would you say is your life's mantra?
If I'm able to live my life each day, knowing that I've done, I've inspired, I've encouraged, I've shared a story that gives people some courage, no matter how little, to move a bit beyond themselves, to trust their voices. I think my life's work is done, but I haven't ever really thought of having a mantra. What's your life mantra?
So I feel like in the way I interact with people, in the things that I say, in the work that I do, even in my career, let it be making a difference somehow. So
to share my stories, to encourage men and women to live their lives to the fullest, regardless of their ambition. But in the meantime, let me eat my mushrooms. I really, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense, and I think in a way you've kind of answered my last question, which is always what do you want to be remembered for when you leave here, because I think we all need to figure that out somehow, because you don't want to just come and just go.
I think that person who was bold enough to love and celebrate Nigerian cuisine. I think if people remember me as one person who is really passionate, and not just passionate, but who actually did the work of sharing and celebrating Nigerian cuisine, that would be something worthy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ozoz. This was fun.
Thank you for helping. You see, you cut the mushrooms right. So.
I will. They're amazing, by the way.
Thank you.